Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't think we're cheating or something, because we basically got the right suburb there, which is kind of crazy. Hi everyone, it's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Now, some of you guys may know my favorite way to play GeoGuessr is without moving, panning, or zooming. So essentially guessing with a still image. Now, on the official Duels mode, which is the 1 vs 1 ladder, there is no moving, panning, or zooming format. So I wanted to try a new series on my second account, the Thai Goat, and try and get as highly rated as I can without ever looking around. Meanwhile, all my opponents are moving around and searching for clues. So the goal for the series will be to get to 1,100 rating, which is equal to Champion Division. And that is no small feat because the GeoGuessr player base has improved immensely over the last year. I just wanted to quickly mention before we get into it, thank you so much for all the support on these videos where I've been going for GeoWizard's record. A bunch of you guys were saying I should or shouldn't continue the grind. I think I'll give it 1 or 2 more hours of playing, so 2 more episodes roughly. And if I can't do it in that time, then I'll probably just hang up the hat and let old man GeoWizard have it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to film, so hopefully I'll bring it back. Guys, give the video a like right now, and let's get straight into the first duel. Okay, here is our first opponent. They are from Italy, and it should be interesting to see how we can go here. Well, we have Taiwanese poles here, which I expect our opponent to know. There's a black and yellow stripes that go all the way down to the bottom. Now, where in Taiwan? Well, we obviously see that this is quite flat, so I'm thinking somewhere all the way west here. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm in Adelaide. Back in the room, back on the PC, which means we're going to have much better loading times. Zooming into the map is going to be much smoother, so I hope you guys are enjoying that, because also no laptop fan noise. It's going to be nice. Okay, anyway, I think this is just the central western part where you get most of the flatness. I'll let my opponent guess, so let's just see where it actually is here. And yeah, well, it's just in central Taiwan. Confidently going Bangladesh here, which I do understand. They have round concrete poles, but I anticipate the first part of this series shouldn't be too difficult. So hopefully I can find some opponents who can give me a challenge further towards the end of this episode and then the next one. But this one should be somewhere, I guess, in Eastern Europe. Is it Ukraine or is it Russia here? That's kind of the question I'm trying to answer myself. I think it looks more like Ukraine. But even still, I don't really have a good guess for the city. So I think Kyiv is a reasonable shout, but I could see a whole bunch of other ones working as well. Cherkasy here was one I thought of trying. I'm just going to give it a go here. It kind of doesn't feel quite so north as Kyiv, but we do have birch trees, so it shouldn't be all the way south, where you probably wouldn't normally see them. So I guess we'll just put our opponent in here. We can look around after we've guessed, of course. It definitely looks like Ukraine to me, but it could still be both countries. It was actually Donetsk there. Opponent goes in Kyiv, so we're going to do a little bit of damage there. But nothing crazy, just kind of hedging the middle of the country is often pretty wise for no moving, panning, or zooming. Obviously, as we progress up the ranks in this series, we're going to have to guess a lot quicker because the opponent's going to be moving for clues, but right now it's pretty chill. This one, it feels very dry, but I think it's Colombia because we have this yellow plate here. So if you're talking about dry Colombia, often that kind of northwest of the country, Cartagena, Barranquilla area can work quite nicely. I'm probably just going to go for that, to be honest. And our opponent guesses already, so technically he went first and he chose Uganda, and that's going to be a knockout damage round there. It was in Monteria there, and so it was a flawless there. Not really too surprising, I think, because we're still at that kind of rating where people are learning the fundamentals, and no doubt we'll be once we pass the gold division, which will be soon, then we'll have some really good opponents who are going to give us a run for our money. But this one should be somewhere in Switzerland. We have this really wide blur, which is very typical of Switzerland. And yeah, these kind of houses, they feel maybe more Germanic than French, but that kind of tip doesn't really work too well for Switzerland, I must admit. So probably just guessing near the lakes here, Lucerne, is a pretty reasonable guess in my opinion. And it was just near Zurich there. Instead, we have Stop Arrête as the profile picture there. I like that. So let's see what happens on the second round here, where we have quite a bit of red dirt going on. I wonder what that means. This is the first round where I'm not quite sure of the country initially. I think it is Brazil, just because, you know, red dirt is very widely associated with Brazil. But then this pole doesn't look all too Brazilian, I must admit. So it still could be somewhere in Mexico. There's a few countries that are options here, I think. I don't think I'm really going to change my mind here, so I think I will just go for a northern Brazil kind of Amazon rainforest kind of vibe here. So I'll go Sandtram, but it was actually in Cambodia. Very interesting. The like poles and the kind of brick fences there did not feel like that to me. So that's the first fail of the series. No doubt many are coming, because no moving, panning, or zooming, you will just go to the wrong continent sometimes. But okay, this one's going to be somewhere in Bhutan, Bhutanese architecture. Opponent immediately puts me in, so this is clearly a stronger opponent than the last one. Even if he's guessing the wrong country here, it just means he's more confident in his skills. I think like maybe maybe this valley here. I think I've seen some similar stuff on this city, maybe. And it was just near the capital there instead. Opponent goes in the middle. Good guess from our opponent, so only 200 points damage from us, but definitely looking like this one's going to go the distance compared to last duel. Okay, here we have a combination of like longer plates and Argentinian plates. These ones with the black dot in the middle. Now, would it actually be Buenos Aires? That is the question here. I feel like it's not. But then again, I don't really have a good second guess here. So I'm thinking of just clicking one of the bigger cities in the middle, Rosario, Cordoba. Maybe it got more of a Cordoba vibe here, I can't lie. But no, I'll go Rosario because it could easily be BA. And sometimes on NPCs, you just have to admit that you don't know and hedge in the middle. But what else could we say here? Okay, it was actually BA. Yeah, I guess it's world map still. So there's a lot of Buenos Aires locations. And 800 points damage there for our opponent. So yeah, the first one was a bit of a breeze, but we really can't underestimate the quality of the opponents here. They can be really good players. And here we have another difficult round. So this should be Latin America somewhere. I'm looking at this pole over here, this lamp. Is it Brazilian or is it Colombian or is it Mexican? That's kind of the vibe I got on this round. And I'm actually not sure. So 1.5 times damage. Our opponent already guesses as well. Wowie. I thought Mexico might be most likely here. But the other two that I mentioned are very possible. I think it kind of looked like Chiapas or maybe Veracruz or something like that. So I'm gonna leave my marker there. I'm not entirely sure here. And it was Ecuador, not even a country I'd mentioned. And it's going to be huge damage here, 2.9k. So we are way behind. I have to really go for quick guesses here. I've been too nice. No, this guy's just been playing nice, but you know, I've been too slow on the uptake here. So this one should be like somewhere. I'll go Naples. No, Rome is fine, I think. Somewhere in Italy, though. The reason I say that, these trees are very common there. But is it actually Spain? Yeah, I think it's actually Spain here. Oof. So we don't have double blues on the plates here, so that should indeed mean we're in, yeah, Barcelona. Obviously, Barcelona is a place that kind of can feel Italian, being the closest part to it. But that's the good thing about guessing quickly. He goes in Serbia. Normally we'd die there, but that's really a fortunate outcome. This one is, of course, the Netherlands. I'm just going to go in the middle here because I don't want to get knocked out. To me, it kind of felt more north, but there are like regions of the south that look very similar, and it was kind of more southwest there. So yeah, that's a good play from us, 230 points. Okay, I really don't want to have a setback here, so let's take a win. We got yellow rear plates here, and I would say that this is somewhere in the Netherlands again, although, yeah, it is, because if we were in Luxembourg, which also uses all yellow plates, we wouldn't have brick buildings like this. So I still kind of got more of a German vibe. I'm going to click here, but ultimately everywhere in the Netherlands is quite possible here, and it was actually north, yeah. Netherlands is typically quite difficult to guess, although, to be fair, we were only about 50 kilometers from the border with Germany there, okay? And the next one here is going to be probably Malaysia, I think. So whereabouts in Malaysia would we go? No, a red plate there. Oh, he guesses so quickly. So it is going to be somewhere in Chile with this red plate, I believe. And I cannot see the landscape at all, which means we have to go Santiago here. It kind of looks northern to me, but I can't see any desert landscape, so I just have to go here. And indeed it was northern. Really good guess from our opponent there, by the way. I don't know if that's typical for a person to be playing so nicely. It does say he's playing no moving in his profile there, so maybe this is like a stronger player coming down and playing with another account like me. Just the same thing as I'm doing, so I really can't complain. But okay, next round here, hopefully we can take a win this time. I guess faster tactics are in order here. Now this I thought was America off the bat. Yeah, the houses are American. It looks very Australian for a second. But yeah, you wouldn't get these post boxes in Australia, these letter boxes. And sometimes if America looks like Australia, it's Florida, in my experience. So I'm going to go Jacksonville, Florida here. Obviously, now that we've guessed, we can take a look around. We have a lot of palms. And yeah, I think that is a Florida number plate here with the peach in the middle. Yeah, so that is a Florida number plate. Hopefully we're correct. And it was actually Jacksonville there. Wow. Really good start to the duel there. Hopefully it doesn't think we're cheating or something, because we basically got the right suburb there, which is kind of crazy. But okay, next one here, black car. We're driving left-hand side of the road because that's the back of the car there. Black and white curbs. There should be somewhere in, oh, I think I know the city here. So these supporting beams on the light in Malaysia are normally found in Georgetown. I remember discovering that myself. So I'm going to guess there. I think the landscape is really working nicely here. Also, like, the buildings are quite rich looking, and Penang is, you know, generally speaking, a richer part of Malaysia in my experience. So I think we're on the money here, maybe. And yeah, it was actually on Georgetown Island there. Super good guess, and we are already at a massive advantage here going into round number 3. I mean, this was just a really nice start to the duel, picking the town both times. Okay, and the next one here, is it Denmark or something? I would say so. Yeah, we got like a metal wrapping around this sign here. That's really good clue for Denmark. You also see it in like Switzerland and some other countries. If I know world map, then Odense is really commonly found, but yeah, I'll just go Fun here, but it can be both sides of me, in my opinion. Definitely Copenhagen quite likely here as well, given how flat it is. But yeah, I mean, also something about the Denmark is that they have the double white lines quite commonly, which, for example, you wouldn't really see too much in Germany, or yeah, I don't think you'd see it too much in like Norway or something like that. Well, it's actually Copenhagen there. We take him out in a flawless victory there. And I forgot to mention something, and I should have mentioned this earlier in the duel, but there is now a watch replay button here, and let me show you guys how this works. So we can actually go back and see what he did on this first round. So presumably he was looking for clues here. Didn't pick up on the palm tree vibes. Okay, he was immediately getting the map open, which is interesting. Okay, so what did he find here? I think it's more interesting in a round where they found like a piece of information and you're like, how did they do that? But on this occasion, I mean, when they go back and watch my replay, they're just going to see me sitting there, which is going to be, I guess, kind of funny. Yeah, I guess, yeah, he didn't find any signs and he just goes in the north of the US. Even Canada was his guess there. So yeah, kind of interesting. So that's kind of, I mean, when we come across rounds in this series that are like kind of interesting ones, then we can look at that. But for now, we gained 16 elo, and let's jump into another game here and see what we get. And we immediately have a Serbian opponent who is 800 rated, so could expect some decent gameplay here, I think. And what do we have? A bunch of tiled roofs. This could be his neck of the wood here, just based on the architecture, I think, though I'm not really sure which country is fitting best. Well, given the fact that he's from there, I think I'm going to go Bulgaria here quickly and just hope that that's correct. I mean, Bulgaria does often have this kind of like autumnish looking coverage, but then again, we have like an olive tree here, so maybe this is more likely to be, I don't know, I don't think it's, maybe there is Greece here, actually. And it was Turkey, that makes sense here. Yeah, I don't really know, I didn't get a strong vibe there. I mean, wooden poles are not that common in Turkey, but neither are they in Bulgaria, to be fair, so it wasn't the best guess from me. Anyway, next round here, number 2. Opponent's good, so I gotta, like, go full focus. This, I think, actually may be Greece. We have a bunch of like corn, which is interesting. Not really something I associate with Greece too much, but yeah, I'm gonna go northern Greece here for that reason. Like Thessaloniki area seems to work quite nicely. If we take a look around here, I mean, we can go down the road here and see if see what our opponent's likely to be able to see. A bit of lag here. The houses, do they feel? They feel more maybe Spanish. Oh, it is Greek. Okay, that's very nice. Sometimes, yeah, no moving perspective is actually better than when you look around. Opponent goes Montenegro, very reasonable guess, but that camera quality is only found in the Balkans, it's only found in Greece, so really makes life easier. Here we have a black dot on the number plate, and this one should be somewhere in Argentina for that reason. It looked, I have to say, a lot like Uruguay, so I'm thinking going like Entre Rios here, maybe even Concepcion del Uruguay, for that reason, you know? But yeah, I would say it's like there, maybe even a bit further north. I might hedge it a bit further north here because it does kind of feel quite green. I'll go Concordia. But yeah, I mean, let's take a look around here. Do we see anything else that's kind of helping out? Not really. I think when it comes to urban, like Argentina, urban Uruguay, very difficult to pick the right town, generally speaking. So we just have to hope we're like nearby here. And actually it was on Entre Rios, or just over the border in Buenos Aires province. So good guess from our opponent again here. Definitely proving himself to be quite strong. So again, I'm just gonna have to try really hard because we want to take early wins in this series. Here we have some Malaysian bollards, and to me, even though this kind of weed is found more so on the East Coast, I think the fact that we have big infrastructure here makes me want to go West Coast near Kuala Lumpur. We have this black sticker on the pole as well, which you would only find on the peninsula of Malaysia rather than over on Borneo, Malaysia. And yeah, this is a huge highway, and it might be a hard round to get as well because there's no like real obvious clues, so we'll see. And it was actually further towards Johor there, opponent getting it. Very impressive guess, honestly. So again, I mean, the difference between the skills of the 4 opponents so far, we've had 2 strong opponents and 2 weak opponents. It's interesting. I don't really know what to make of that. But again, next one here maybe felt a bit Danish or Swedish or something like that to me. We don't have like the metal bar around the pole here, so I guess around the signpost, around the sign face. So I guess I would go Sweden, and for that reason, I don't think it really looks like southern architecture. I'll try this region here. but it could be Norway as well. Let's go to an intersection here, see if we see what we can see. Yeah, green number plate here means Norway. It should be near Oslo though, or a little bit further north in Trondheim actually. So it's going to be big damage here, almost 1,000 points or over 1,000 points. So yeah, this was not a particularly good round. I would like to make sure I get that type of round right next time. But this is a UK estate, and it doesn't feel too north. So I would be thinking maybe like Nottingham, something like that here. Should be fine. We could go out here, especially if it's Ireland, but yeah, it's too many bricks to be Ireland. Could it ever be like Isle of Man? We don't have any red strips on the plate, so surely not. I think this region is fine, and it was actually in Boston there. Interesting. I didn't actually know there was a Boston in the UK. I can't even lie. Obviously, you know, it was always likely to be named after something in the UK, but I never saw that before. Okay, next one here. 2.5 times damage. Which country are we in? Something Eastern Europe, presumably. That's a hard one. It almost looks a bit alpine, like the Alps, right? But it's probably just the Carpathian Mountains. I just don't know which country we are. Yoda, I am. Yeah. This is a hard round. Maybe it's actually just France. Maybe that's why I can't pick it here. Czechia, Austria. Austria is possible here. I might just plonk at Austria because it has that Alps vibe. It could also be Slovenia, but there's not many trees. That's why I want to go Austria over Slovenia here. Because like Slovenia is just like one of the most forested countries in the world. So you're more likely to see a big forest there. I think Austria is a decent shout though. We have no antenna. What does that mean? Is this like northern Italy? Could be that, actually. We'll see. This is a hard round, so we'll see what our opponent does. Oh, Slovakia. Yeah, it was Carpathian Mountains, I guess. So that's a hard round. 450 damage. He goes Slovenia. Not a surprise to me either. But not a typical Slovakia, that's for sure. Okay, next one here. Immediately don't know the country again here. We have kind of white road lines indicating Europe. But beyond that, the architecture is difficult. We have shutters on the windows. I think this is actually Spain. Dry Spain. Maybe like near Madrid or something. I'm just going to go for it here. Shutters on the windows should indicate France, Italy, Spain, Croatia. Could this be Croatia? Ooh. Yeah. 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 I don't know. It's not really... Actually, it's much more Croatia than Spain. So that was a bit of a silly guess. And you know what's unfortunate is that we came up against a friend from Serbia here and got a bunch of Serbia round, or a bunch of Yugoslav rounds. So yeah, tough round there, but that's okay. We'll jump in here again. We're against a Norwegian opponent this time. So you see NMPZ, like a year ago, I did a similar challenge to this and it was very easy compared to right now. This is difficult. The opponents are high quality now. It's really good to see. But this one is, could be like Spain or Italy, I think. It definitely feels quite dry. And I think the architecture might be Italian here, which is interesting because I'm not sure where I'd put it in Italy. If it's Spain, it's more easy to place, but Italy maybe central southern here or something like that. Guardrail, dam. I don't really know what would give it away here. I may actually just go between the two countries. I'm not really too sure. We'll go in Sardinia here to hedge it a bit. And it was actually northern Portugal there. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And a good start from our opponent. So I think it's really time to start guessing more quickly here. We clearly are facing quite a few good opponents, which I was kind of hoping we wouldn't face. Like, I was kind of hoping this would be a challenge initially, and it is. So let's go. This is South Africa. And it shouldn't be too far from Pretoria, Joburg, I think. Like, Newcastle area does work quite nicely. Yeah, so South Africa uses these yellow outer lines. They're driving left-hand side of the road, longer number plates, which we can barely see here, but yeah. And then just kind of looks like Australia, but with yellow outer lines, it's quite easy to pick in that regard. Opponent goes further south there in the drier zone, but it is just outside Joburg, so a bit of an equalizer there. Not going to complain about that at all. We're driving left here again, and this should be a Borneo, Malaysia. We've got a lot of oil palms here. Yeah, it is Borneo, Malaysia. Now, I'm not really sure which state of the two, Sarawak or Sabah, so I'm just going to go northern Sarawak as a hedge here. Now, those two have very distinctive poles, so I am expecting to be able to work it out very soon if I walk over here. But if it doesn't load, then we can't know. Yeah, the poles are correct for where we guessed, and yeah, it is there. Opponent actually makes a good guess over in West Kalimantan. But we still do 1.2k damage, so now it's exactly even, 20 points between us. And we have a bit of Bangladesh action here with the red mirrors. Now, Bangladesh is interesting. We don't have too many palms here, so I was kind of thinking more northwest, like Rangpur area. It's obviously a fairly risky guess, though. We have banana plants, so it is fairly tropical. I'm gonna, like, temper my guess a bit here and go in the middle. But I'm curious to see where this actually is. And, whoa, we picked the right stretch of road there. That's a nice guess. Opponent goes India. Very reasonable guess, but, of course, this Google car does help out a lot in getting Bangladesh. Although, I would like to think at this stage, having played so much GeoGuessr, I could get it without that anyway. Okay, this one's interesting. Definitely Balkan vibe with these houses. Holy poles here. Would probably indicate Hungary over anything else. Could also be Romania, and indeed in Romania they are more likely to paint it white at the bottom. But the fact that it's kind of winterish coverage, yeah, and the fact that these houses look really Serbian makes me want to go like Szeged or something like that. I don't know, Szeged, yeah, in Hungary or something around there. So I'm gonna give that a go, and it was actually, yeah, on the Serbian border. Opponent getting the Serbian vibe there, which is impressive, but a little bit of damage there. Okay, let's see if we can finish this off now. And it looks like we're in Malaysia, which we've gone well on today. It's a bigger city. I think it's Kuala Lumpur, honestly. We have mountains in the background, though. To the north is a bit interesting. Maybe this could actually be up Penang Way again. I think it's one of the two. So if we have mountains north, we could easily be there. If we have mountains north in Kuala Lumpur, well, that's also well possible. Especially because I think even downtown you get some mountains. Of the two cities, which do I prefer? We have a green bin like that. I'm willing to go for a bit of a gamble here, but the problem is I know he's more likely to go Kuala Lumpur himself. He guesses. Okay, let's really think here. Well, the light is not the same one that we saw last time, so I think for that reason I will go here. And I also think it's quite likely that he's done the same. But I'm confident that it is Malaysia, so we'll see what it actually is here. And indeed it was Penang. Interesting. So they also have that kind of lamp. It's good to know. Opponent goes in Singapore, and that is going to be GG damage. Well, there you go, guys. We end off the video at 761, which I think means we improved by about 40 rating or 30 something. Not a bad start here. Obviously, I would have liked to have gone flawless, but it is nice to see that the Gold Division players were holding their own. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. It was good fun to film, so I hope to bring you some more of that. And yeah, until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and goodbye.